Also on the show today, marriage and family therapist Dr. Nadine Macaluso. She is also the ex-wife of Jordan Belfort, the infamous entrepreneur better known as the Wolf of Wall Street. She has a new book that helps people recover and heal from dangerously toxic relationships. You're not going to want to miss that. Okay, Eric, thanks. Just ahead here on News All Day, the reality of toxic relationships. Dr. Nadine Macaluso joins us after the break. She'll tell us the story of how her previous marriage to the Wolf of Wall Street inspired her to become a therapist, and she'll share her knowledge after this. Well, many of us have experienced a toxic relationship at some point in our lives, whether it's with a partner, a friend, or a family member. When some long-term relationships become abusive, it can be a result of something called trauma bonding. Today's Mental Wellness Monday guest is Dr. Nadine Macaluso. She was once married to businessman Jordan Belfort, infamously known as the Wolf of Wall Street. You may remember the film of his life where Leonardo DiCaprio played the role of Belfort. Dr. Nadine, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
At the movie, it brings me back to watching the movie. Was that a real representation of who he was?
Completely. Very accurate.
And you were married to him for how long?
For 8 years.
8 years. And what was that like? And talk about the experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the beginning, it was absolutely fabulous and wonderful, and we fell in love. And then, like most trauma bonds, over time, it deteriorated due to his drug addiction and abuse, and I got out.
So you got out, and now you say that marriage was the catalyst of you becoming a therapist.
Yes, because when I was married to him, I realized it was more than I could handle, and I went to therapy. And then I realized therapy saved my life, so I wanted to go and do that.
When we talk about trauma and abuse, it could be in any kind of relationship, any dynamic, right?
That's right.
Friend, family member, coworkers.
Right. That's right. It doesn't just have to be between lovers. Yes.
And exactly what is trauma bonding?
So trauma bonding is a relationship where you bond with someone, almost you develop a toxic loyalty to them, even though they harm, betray, lie to you, and exploit you.
So what are some of the telltale signs, actually, that you're in a trauma bond?
So some of the telltale signs is, first of all, usually one person's on a real power streak while the other one's on a pleasing streak. That's the first thing. Second thing is that what happens is that there's real experiences that are very extreme of love and affection and caring mixed with fear and terror. And so that's actually what allows you to bond to the person emotionally, ironically.
So you're not supposed to obviously fear your partner.
No, but it does happen, and it's the mix of those intense feelings that actually attach you to the person.
You actually described the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation as a trauma bond.
Yes, that is definitely a prime example of a trauma bond.
All right, so often the abusive partner is a narcissist, right?
Correct.
But so what are the traits of a narcissist? What should people look out for?
Yeah, so the traits of a narcissist are someone who's larger than life, very grandiose, really believes in themselves, and they're very charming, and they're very bold and fearless, and they can seduce you easily.
Do all narcissists become abusive?
No.
How do you know when it's a problem?
So you know when it's a problem when someone's words don't match their actions. So if someone harms you, right? And you say, that really hurt me, and they say, I'm never going to do it again. But yet time and time again, they don't change their actions, then you know you have a problem.
If you do realize then that you have a problem, what do you do next? Do you escape? Do you try to fix it?
Well, I think what happens is that a lot of people ignore the red flags because they believe this person's going to change and they're going to change. But once you realize they're not going to change, you must go for help, because you don't have to go through this alone. And there are many educated people that can help you. And if you do want to leave, create a safety plan if you're in a toxic marriage with them.
And you also see, this could be a close friend of yours. How does that manifest?
Yeah, so how that can manifest very similarly. You have wonderful experiences with them, but again, they've hurt you. They don't say they're sorry. They don't have empathy for the harm that they've caused you. And then at some point you have to say, you know what, this relationship isn't working for me. This isn't healthy for me, and you have to leave.
Sometimes you just have to
Sometimes you have to just leave.
What about when you're in a relationship and there are kids involved? What's the dynamic with kids?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of that people don't think about that. And traumatic marriages really affect the children. A, they emotionally harm them, and B, sometimes the child ends up acting like the one that's abusing.
Do you feel like then the child is the one that needs therapy?
Yes, definitely.
But are parents quick to want to put their child, especially at young ages, in therapy?
Yeah, not always, but it can never hurt, and you can always give it a try. And it's what you need to do to protect your child after they've gone through such a toxic experience.
What's the one thing you'd like to leave people with today if they're hearing what you're saying and saying, you know what, some of these things ring a bell?
Yeah, so if you're feeling a gut intuition that, wow, this is resonating with me, don't ignore that. Don't override that intuition and reach out and get help, because help is there and it's available for you.
All right, Dr. Nadine, we'd love to have you back. Thanks so much for all this information.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Enjoyed
it.
it.
All right, if you'd like to learn more about how to heal from a traumatic relationship, you can find out much more information on Nadine's website, NadineMacaluso.com. The hard copy of her book actually comes out in January. We'll be right back.